morning, everyone, and how you doing? I hope everyone's all right. I just had to show you my new hat. I saw Rut Daniels wearing them on his videos. I fell in love with the videos. I saw them at Tractor Supply while I was in there the other day. I had to get one. So, turkey season's coming up. So I just want to start talking about turkey hunting. It's pretty much all I got on my mind, and I hope it's on yours too. If not, I completely understand. Right. I'm going to do a whole series about them. So I don't want you to think, just please watch the series. Today, we're gonna start talking about the basics, right? So like how to make sure that you can at least see a turkey when you're in the woods, how to increase the chances of success, how much money you should realistically be spending, and what all you should be looking for as far as your bird, right? So, and I guess the topic of today's would be like pre-season. So before opening day, everything you want to do before opening day. We'll talk about camouflage in another video. I'm not one of those crazy guys that, I don't wear a ghillie suit or anything like that. My granddad killed more turkeys than any other human being I ever met in my entire life, and was better than anybody I saw on television. And he wore that old crappy mossy oak that just literally looked like a moss on an oak tree. I mean, just those long vertical brown lines on a tan t-shirt or on a tan shirt, and they were long sleeve, and that's what he wore. He wore like a cheap face mask, and he wore gloves sometimes, and then he wore like brown pants, right? Typical old-timer turkey wear. And I cannot express to you that I saw him kill. I mean, he filled every tag that I can remember in the 27 years that he was alive, while I was alive, and when he was turkey hunting. I mean, he filled turkey tags. And so he never went crazy on camo. So I don't think you need to do that. Just something to break it up. Turkeys do see great, but putting yourself in a position where they're not going to see you is more important than camouflage. Next is your decoys, right? You don't got to go crazy. I know it's really tempting to go into Cabela's or Bass Pro or on Amazon or wherever your local hunting store is, and to shell out the money for the AVNX decoys or shell out the money for the DSD decoys. I know that's tempting, and sometimes that it might be worth the money for you. It depends on how much you hunt, how much you're into hunting, and it's okay, right? If that's your thing, it's your thing. But if you're just trying it out, you're going to want, I always recommend a breeding pair, right, as your first two. It gives you a lot of flexibility in what you can do, or a single hen. Now, a single hen will get you through the whole season without needing nothing else. A breeding pair, the problem is the hen is on the ground, and if you stick her up, she's going to look kind of funny. If you are just getting into this, never gone before, you're trying to see if you like it, buy a really good single hen. It'll work all season long, early season, mid-season, late season. You don't have to change up a whole hell of a lot. She's going to pull in jakes. She's going to pull in toms. She'll pull in other hens, just being a single hen, because turkeys are really group animals, right? They're flock birds. They want to be with the rest of the flock. So putting a single hen out works really, really, really well to bring in anything. Putting a breeding pair in with a small jake works really, really, really well for pulling in your toms. Toms, bigger jakes, small toms, massive toms, old long beard, everything, right? A breeding pair will pull in all of your bigger birds, whereas a single hen will pull in everything. So, like I said, if you're just trying to figure out if you like turkey hunting, get a single hen. If you know you like turkey hunting, but you don't know how far you want to go into turkey hunting, get yourself a breeding pair. Now let's move on to calls, right? The most versatility you're going to get is out of a mouth call. I like my box calls. I like my pot calls. I like my tube call. I just got into box or mouth calls. I've used pot call and a box call my whole life. I just got into mouth calls very recently. What I'm going to say is it took me about a week of knowing how turkeys sound, again, so that's really important, as I knew how they sounded, to be able to mimic those with a mouth call. So if you don't really know how turkeys sound, That brings me to my next point. I really strongly recommend that you start watching videos of turkeys, not of people who are turkey calling, but videos of turkeys, right? And see how they naturally make noise in the woods, because that's really beneficial to a hunter, right? Knowing how your game actually sounds, knowing what your game's actually going to do, right? But a breeding pair is a great choice for somebody who is into turkey hunting and wants to get a little bit more into turkey hunting, or somebody who knows that they like turkey hunting, but they want to start killing some bigger birds. It's a great pair, or it's a great way to go. But the single hen, if you're just getting into it, that will do more for you than almost anything else. I mean, it really just will. It's a phenomenal way to bring in hung up birds. It's a phenomenal way to bring in big birds. It's a phenomenal way to, like, a single hen does more than anything else as a single entity, right? So, like, even more than like a pack of decoys, like a flock. Because when you get that flock towards the end of the season, your big toms have got the butt whooped, and they're kind of weary of coming in, right? And then most other hunters, you know, they're going to put out the kitchen sink out in front, and it doesn't really work too well outside of early season, maybe a little bit in the mid-season, and that's where your breeding pair is going to really kind of win over, is that mid-season, early to mid-season, because it's more birds, mid-season especially, because the big toms haven't really got their butt whooped. The breeding pair is not really going to bring in a Jake by mid-season, probably. I mean, it's possible, but it's probably not. But your single hen's going to work from the opening day of turkey season to the very end of turkey season. Now, what I also want to speak on is you got to scout. So in my other videos where I'm talking about guns and shooting and everything else, I say training is the most important thing you can have. For turkey hunting, it's scouting. Knowing where the birds are. And what you want to look for is you want to look for good tall trees on a ridge over a field with water nearby, right? So food source, water, cover, right? That's what turkeys are going to want to do. And if you find a spot that has all three of those in at least semi-close proximity, there's going to be birds. There will be birds. And then we'll kind of talk about calling a little bit again in a later session. And then for your gun, right? You don't need anything crazy. My other grandfather killed turkeys with a 2 3/4 inch modified Winchester Model 12. That was the only gun he owned. And he killed a ton of turkeys. My granddad that I was talking to you about before used a Remington, I think it was an 1187 with a fixed full choke in it. I mean, that was the only shotgun he ever turkey hunted with. And he killed birds all the time. So it doesn't matter what gun you want to use. Excuse me. What matters is, have you patterned it, and do you know where it shoots? So this is what we talked about preseason, right? Take your gun out, shoot your gun, figure out where it's going to hit. It's really important. Pattern your damn shotguns. Don't just show up in the woods with a shotgun and expect it to hit where you put the beads. That's not how it works. And then let's talk about shells. My favorite turkey shell they ever made, I can't find them. If anybody knows where to find them, please comment. This is a 4x6 duplex turkey load 3-inch. It's got number 4 and number 6 in it. It's a great shell. If you can't find those, I like either number 4s or number 5s. I don't like number 6s. I don't think they hit hard enough. I don't think they carry as far. Again, I would go with number 4s or number 5s. If you are teaching a smaller child to shoot, 2 3/4 number 4s. It's going to have a really similar recoil to your, 2 3/4 anything else, right? 2 3/4 number 4s really the way to go. Make sure they pattern their gun, and keep your range realistic, right? Sorry, I just woke up. Keep your range realistic on your guns. Not everyone is going to be able to roll a tom at 70 yards with a shotgun, even with an extra full choke. Just be realistic with yourself. Be fair to the birds, right? And by be fair to the birds, I mean don't wound one and have it get away. Be fair. So pattern your gun. Buy your shells early. Do research on your calls. Again, mouth calls are 100%. Start early, learn how to use a mouth call. They're like 1/10 of the cost of a good pot call or a good box call. I mean, so I'm a big fan of Woodhaven calls. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I love their stuff. I love the company. I like everything about them. The last Woodhaven box call I got the Mahogany Hen. Sounds beautiful. Don't get me wrong. Sounds absolutely beautiful. It was $100. I got a Woodhaven mouth call that I really like. I actually keep it in my pocket. That's the other reason I like mouth calls, because I can keep them in my pocket while I'm driving around. I can practice. It was like $15. Right? It was. It's a beautiful call. It works great. And then I learned how to use it from watching YouTube videos. The Primos guys, the Primos hunting guys with Troy Ruiz, man, that is where I 100% learned to use a mouth call. So if I kill any birds this year, like, big shout out to those guys. They don't even know who I am. That's okay. Big shout out to those guys. That's a wonderful, wonderful series on using a mouth call. And they start at the beginning. And now, start at the beginning. Because if you're saying to yourself, like, oh, I need to learn how to use a mouth call, don't skip any steps. Start at the beginning. I learned an absolute ton about it. In short, what we talked about this morning briefly is your pre-turkey season, right? You're scouting what to look for, patterning your gun, getting a mouth call. Do you want to buy a single hen, or do you want to buy a breeding pair to get started? What call you're going to use, everything like that. Just and again, this doesn't have to be an expensive hobby, guys. I mean, you can get a decent breeding pair for, like, honestly, a good, solid, gonna get birds pair is gonna be like $100, $120, somewhere in there. A mouth call, a good mouth call, like the best one Woodhaven makes, I think, is like $20, maybe. And then your shotguns, you can get like an 870 with a full choke, and they're like $350. They're not that expensive. And then your camo, I said I was going to talk about that a little bit later. You're looking to not look like a person, right? And that's the most important part. So your cheap face mask, they're like $4, $3. A camouflage t-shirt and camouflage pants. You can literally get a pair of camouflage non-insulated coveralls at Walmart for $30. And then gloves are they're $10 at Walmart. I mean, you can get almost everything you need to turkey hunt at Walmart, from coming in with nothing but a wallet to leaving with everything you need to turkey hunt, obviously with the exception of your turkey license, because that varies state to state, for like less than $500, which is a really, really cheap way to get into hunting. I mean, I've got sets of decoys that cost more than that. But again, I figured out that I actually like turkey hunting. If you don't like wild turkey, Steve Rinella did an episode of Meat Eater where he puts out a turkey sausage recipe. Watch that episode before you say anything else, because I quit turkey hunting for a long time. I'm a big believer in eat what you kill, and man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just did not like the taste of wild turkey. Didn't matter how I cooked it. I could roast it, I could fry it, I could deep fry it, I could bake it. I didn't like it. I could pluck it, skin it, didn't like it, didn't want it. Watched that episode, and it kind of I was like, oh, I want to try that, right? So it kind of got me reinterested in turkey hunting, and then we tried the recipe, and man, it is some kind of good sausage. It is really just incredible. So if you're one of those guys where you don't know if you like a recipe or not, or you don't know if you like a species of game, for sure, watch Meat Eater with Steve Rinella. The episode's probably up on YouTube, where you can at least get the recipe for free. Please tune back in. We're gonna do a whole bunch of turkey hunting this year. Before turkey season starts, we're gonna go over everything you need to know, or at least what little bit I know and what I think is pertinent information for somebody to learn. All right, guys. So thanks for tuning in. And if it's already turkey season, I'm sorry we got such a late start. Turkey season doesn't come in for another week and a half up here. So y'all have a good day. Good luck. Everybody have a good day at work. Be kind to each other. Be nice.